that for me it was more about finding opportunity, finding something that I couldn't find in Mexico, and probably I was not feeling so identified with the path that I thought I wanted, which was the business career, the money, the house, and all that. I think it was just trying to find something different, and I feel leaving my country kind of was the answer for me.
Mm-hmm.
But now that I am like out of it and I'm trying to create a voice, I think it's way more important than ever to go back to where I come from, and that's why I'm trying to be an artist, to have a voice and to say that matter and to help other people. It's not always a flashy cameras and all that stuff. It's more about what can we leave behind that will help other people achieve their dreams, or like maybe expose a truth or something that's happening.
Aldo, talking a little bit more about your career and you as a photographer, what is the project that you have felt most proud of until now?
Until now, do you mean commercially or personally?
Well, let's start with the professional and then we can go to the personal side so we can know you a little bit better on that personal level, right?
Yeah. I think commercially, I love working for Adidas, and it was mostly because I was like, I want to shoot sports and I want to shoot athletes, and that year that I worked for them, like I think it was kind of like a New Year resolution, and I was like, this is the year I'm gonna work for them. And it suddenly the opportunity came, it happened, and it was very chill, the creative one, and I kind of felt very validated after that. I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do, and I was proud with the images, they being great, and yeah, I felt happy with it. It was a lot of joy.
And what did you enjoy the most? Is there any specific shooting that you had that you can say, listen, I enjoyed the most doing this at this time because I felt like I portrayed and I delivered this message for Adidas, which was what they were looking for at the time?
Well, the thing is, I love the shooting because just being there with other people, and like when I work, I just try to have as much fun as possible. It's about having a great vibe on set and enjoying the moment. And I feel that once you do that, if you can do that and also convey a message that the client wants, making everyone feel at ease, that's a success for me. And I mean, it was just like shooting athletes, which they are also at the top of their game. They are also, they challenge you personally to be more creative and be on top of your game, so you cannot mess up when you're there. So I feel that all the mix and all that cool of things that happened that day was great.
You mentioned Adidas. Are there any other brands that you have worked with that it's on your portfolio and you can say, listen, I was a photographer for this brand, which is very important in the entertainment business?
Yes, a couple. Luckily, I've shot with Spotify for Adidas. I've shot for Man United, Epson. What else? I've shot Gatorade. Yeah, there's been a couple brands.
Oh, that's pretty awesome. I know you have a website, Aldo, where people can look at your portfolio. Can you tell us what website that is, and can you give us your social media, because we know we're currently living in a digital world and everybody has Instagram, Facebook, and people like to go through everything and see their stories and see what they have told and what they have to say. Can you tell us your Instagram account, your Facebook, and also that website that you have where they can find some interesting portfolio as well as a blog, which we're going to talk about a little bit later on?
Sure. Well, my website is Aldo Chacon Studio. My Instagram is A-L Chacon Photos. A bit challenging there. And I think my Facebook should be Aldo Chacon or something. Aldo Chacon Artist, I guess. I'm not sure, man.
Okay, so in that website you gave us, with this aldochaconstudio.com, there's also a very interesting blog that you write. And I was reading through it when I was doing some research about your career before this podcast took place. And there's one specific blog post that I love the most, which is photographers killing their own industry. Can you tell us a little bit about that story and why you wrote that? Because we know that nowadays we are going through a very interesting era in the digital world, and I think that's revolutionizing the entertainment business and every single business around the world and how people are perceiving talent. What can you tell us about this important article you wrote that people can read through when they log in to your website?
I didn't know you were checking my rant. No, I mean, it's just more about, it's something that I think it resonated with me because sometimes I get a lot of people trying to work with me as collaboration, and they are always asking me for a lot of images, and then they're like, oh yeah, let's collaborate, I can get you this many followers, and it's just always about, the followers. So the basis of the article was about how we photographers give in, just because we see someone that's an influencer and we see a number in their Instagram page, we give in because we think it's important to be followed. And I think I wrote this after Instagram deleted my account because it was hacked. So I had like 100 followers. I'm like, I'm done with the followers, But it's mostly about how we actually, and a lot of artists out there, have like an actual past. And sometimes we're just exchanging it for something that is actually not going to be beneficial in the long run to you. So I think you have to be careful nowadays with how you put your work out there, because if you can give it value, nobody else will. Mm-hmm. Whether you do painting, even if you're an actor or a model, some brands are like, oh, well, you have all these followers, now come, we'll send you some product and post it. It's just like, come on, you're selling yourself short for some underwear. So come on, do something that actually matters. You already have the talent, and the followers are not going to give you anything else,
Yes, you're absolutely right. We can see that nowadays, and I have spoken about this topic with other guests in Artistic Spot, which is basically about how talent is being perceived through social media, because nowadays everybody can be a photographer with all these cameras and all these Androids, iPhones, smartphones, and all these applications that they have all these filters, so everybody tends to be an artist in a certain way. How do you think that affects people with real talent? I'm not saying that those people are not talented, of course, because I think that everybody has a special talent, but how do you think that what's happening nowadays with social media and all these media tools that everybody has handy, some of them free, they don't need an expensive camera to shoot a picture and tell a story, how do you think that affects your career and the career of your peers and the people in the entertainment business?
I think I've seen it both ways. I think it's affected a lot of people that have been trying to get into the industry because it's now tougher because there's more people out there. But I also feel that sometimes it's created a more beneficial some people that already have a really good position out there, professional out there, already, because then they can actually go to a brand and be like, oh, you don't want someone that's going to do that for you, right? You want someone that's professional and that's actually going to come through with good work. So it's kind of, a blade to, sword with two blades, or I don't know what that's saying, but it's just like two sides of the coin. It's definitely affected a lot of the industry in terms of pricing, because the value has dropped because of the amount of people that want to do it now, and the equipment is cheaper, it's more affordable. But in another way, it's just like, it can be very different from others and be like, well, I don't do that kind of stuff, which makes me kind of cooler, right?
Yes, that's true. It makes it kind of cooler. That's absolutely right. Now going back to our live audience on Facebook, we have a question from Alex Maynard, who's watching us through Facebook. He's watching Artistic Spot live. He asked you, what is your dream project?
I feel like my dream project would be something that I do for a year, like traveling a constant year and trying to meet like very different cultures all over the world, like east to west, go on meeting every sort of people from every social status and every kind of like background. That would be awesome. Just 2 portraits or something like that.
Although I see that on your website, you also have a portion dedicated to some places I believe you have visited as a tourist, maybe. How can you tell us a little bit more about that experience, and how do you document life and different cultures around the world?
Yeah, that's something that I'm always also passionate about. I want to bring my camera wherever I go, and being a photographer has allowed me to do so much. It's kind of like the coolest job because you just get to travel and take photos. So for me, it's more about being there and being really present in the moment of what you're living, and just approaching other cultures without fear. Being adventurous and being risky. And I feel that that's how you can capture great moments when you're documenting the streets or when you're traveling. It's about recreating that experience for someone else.
Although we already spoke about your dream project, we already spoke about your career working for Adidas, for Spotify, we spoke about this important article on your blog, on your website. What about handling a world full of no's? Because you are in Los Angeles, and sometimes people from every country around the world, they have plans, they have goals, they have dreams, and sometimes they have to start knocking on doors, and sometimes they get no's as responses. How do you handle that in your career, and how do you separate that from your personal life and say, hey, I'm not going to let this bother me or put me down, or I'm not going to let this make my feelings go through a drain or just flush them. I'm just going to take this no as an opportunity to knock other doors, or maybe to find a window to step inside and make my dreams come true.
Yeah, it goes sometimes both ways. Sometimes I'm like, oh my God, I suck. My work is terrible. But sometimes it's just about like going back to everything you've done and being like, okay, probably it's not a right fit. It's not the right time. Probably it's good that it didn't happen now because I'm not that ready yet. So I don't know. I try to stay positive, because if not, I would go really fast.
Did that happen to you recently?
I mean, getting a lot of notes.
Yes.
Yeah, I get notes, not on a constant basis, but quite often, because I submit my work for a lot of different, where I'm always bidding, and I try not to take it personal. It's not about. It's not always about you. There's a lot of things involved to make a project, and sometimes the decisions don't. It's not because they like you. It's just because there's something else out there that it's a better fit for them at the time, or for the client, or for the project. Yeah. So it's happened. Don't worry. You have to get over it and just keep trying. And I mean, that has pushed me also to do better work. Yeah.
So Aldo, another important thing that I know about your career, and I want you to share with our audience, is not that you are just a photographer, you're also a creative director. Can you tell us a little bit about that portion of your career and how that makes a perfect balance with the stories you tell through pictures?
I mean, a creative director is, it's just more about generating an idea for a project and trying to bring that idea to life. And I feel like my background as a photographer always helps out because I already see images, are compelling and that could do well for certain